Welcome everyone to episode 33 of Kerbal Space Program First Contract. Now, in the silence of space, in the last episode, we managed to, well, I say capture an asteroid, basically crash into it, and it is now pushing us through space on an orbit that will take us away from Kerbin, which is not what we need to be doing. So this is our current escape trajectory, and as part of our contract, that's not what we need to do. We need to bring this asteroid to Minmus. So first things first, we need to bring this orbit around Kerbin as a minimum. So let's get started with that. First things first, we need to be pointing ourselves at our centre of mass, because at the moment we're kind of pushing off to the centre. There's much more mass on this left hand side. So how do we do that? Well, first things first, we grab in here and we free the pivot. Next, we target the centre of mass and we bend our rocket so that we are pointing at that centre of mass. Getting closer, I need to go up a little, get as close as possible and then lock the pivot. Now we missed it, I think, so let's just, it was just flexing. So let's get ready, lock, and see how we're doing. That's not bad, but we can do better. There we go. So now we are pushing much more through the centre of our asteroid, which means we won't then start flailing off to the left or the right. Now you'll also remember from the last episode that these fuel pipes don't seem to be working. A fault at the factory, so we need to manually pump fuel from tank to tank. So let's just get on and do that. Bill, Jeb and Bob are as, well, I'd say as happy as ever. But apart from Jeb, Bill and Bob are the only ones to show emotion on this craft. So I'm not sure if that's good or bad. So that's the first one done. So let's transfer into this tank. That'll be tank number 2. See the tanks filling up over here. A little bit of wobble on our craft, but that's only going to get worse, I assure you. When we start our engines. So let's alt-click this one. In on that one, that'll be tank number 3. Now the intern got fired for messing with the controls in the control center for the audio recording. So with Gene now at the control of the recording, we should at least get some background music. Something to fill in the gaps between ecstasy and terror as we maneuver our asteroid. Now it doesn't look like we got such a great grab, so hopefully it's not going to break. Bill says everything's okay, so I trust him. And we now have 4 full fuel tanks. So let's get ourselves lined up in orbit. Now we want to get ourselves facing retrograde. So it doesn't look like we did such a great job positioning our craft in the first place. But let's get ourselves pointing retrograde along our orbit. Here we go. That's almost there. Here we go. And now we fire away and hope that our SAS and our RCS thrusters keep us on track. So what are we looking for? We are looking for this Kerbin escape to pull around. So it's getting longer and longer. That's good. It's coming around. Still going. Let's get our nav ball up. We're still lined up. Still coming around. Get ready to kill. We don't want to waste any fuel if we don't have to. We've got little enough as it is. It's coming around. And there we go. Asteroid captured. We now have an asteroid orbiting Kerbin. It's quite a way off our Minmus orbit, so we do still have some manoeuvring to do, but I suggest we do this in several phases. And the first phase is simply to get it on the right orbital plane. So how are we going to do that? Well, there are our ascending and descending nodes, so I think we'll set our next manoeuvre here. Now at the moment we are going this way round and we want to end up going that way round, so we want to bring the orbit down in this direction, not that way. This way. So let's pull back and down, back and down. Not quite got a closest approach, but we're getting there. And then down and back, down and back. We're getting pretty close to having ourselves in orbit. It's coming down 1 degree. It's about to flick over as we come back. 2 degrees, or 0.2 of a degree. 0.4, I think we're slightly over now. 0.4. 0.3, just pulling down. I mean, we can do this with our precise node as well, moving in 1 unit time. So down 0.2, right click, 0.2, 0.2. We're being picky now. Still 0.2. Is that going to be the best we're going to get? And we're getting not such a bad intercept. And there was me thinking we were going to have to do this in multiple attempts. Look at that! Brilliant. Thank you, Precise Node. So that is very, very good. 92 kilometers. I mean, it's not exactly bang on, but it's pretty good. Now, I wonder what we need to do bring this in even closer. Do we need to start a little earlier? So let's go to a slightly smaller increment. 92, 138, so that's the wrong way. 114, 196, not really helping. Wish I knew how to use this darn thing. So let's try moving prograde later. That's completely wrong, so let's go the other way. And I've lost my manoeuvre, my encounter. So let's go down to very small increments. 162, 163, 91, 82, just right clicking, taking this down in very small increments. 78, 91. So that's about as good as it's going to get. Now, as I've said in the past, we don't have... Where are we? Here we go. We don't have Mech Jeb to do our work for us, so we're probably not going to be that accurate. So we'll have plenty of an opportunity to adjust our orbits, adjust our approach after we've executed this manoeuvre. Now it's going to be a 1 minute 9 second burn, so that's on about what, a 34, 35 in T minus 29 days. We've got quite a long time to go. Now, one of the things I would be worried about is running out of electricity. So we won't manoeuvre ourselves out of sunlight just yet. We'll keep our panels fully exposed, well, 2 of them anyway, in order to keep up our electricity, our electric charge, because I don't want us to run out of oxygen. I don't want purification systems to fail on us. That wouldn't be good for Bob, Jeb or Bill. So let us put a alarm in, as we've done before. Let's add a new alarm, maneuver node. We'll give ourselves 2 minutes warning. We'll add the alarm and we'll warp away. Bring up warp speed very slowly. We're now at 100. Now at 1,000, you can see the time starting to tick away there on the bottom and on the alarms. And now 10,000. As we start to drift in our orbit. 25 days to go. Well, apart from this slight mistake we had here, things weren't too bad. Now, of course, we're probably going to need more fuel than we have here. So I think what I'm going to do is drop out of warp and crack on with refueling these outer tanks. For such a perfect rendezvous. I say perfect, for my first asteroid capture, it's perfect. So let's... yes, we know the crew are in the capsule, and they should be out here helping us refuel. After all, it was Jeb's mechanics that got it wrong in the first place. So let's fill this third tank. And we've got plenty of food, water and oxygen, so we're not going to run out of supplies. We're much, much more likely to run out of fuel. But we are now in orbit around Kerbin, and so we can at least send out a rescue craft long before they leave orbit. Or escape Kerbin, I should say. So let's, now we've refueled, bring back time warp and watch the time tick down. We've got 16 days to go as the alarm ticks down. So if we have a look where we are on the orbit, coming up over the top of the orbit now, approaching our manoeuvre node here. Now it's going to be quite a substantial change in orbital direction, as you can see, almost 90 degrees. But without the additional attempts to rendezvous, with the fact we've managed to get a rendezvous on our first attempt, we've done pretty well. But we're going to have to meet it, otherwise we're going to get flung out of Kerbin escape, potentially without sufficient fuel. But one thing at a time. 2 days to go. So let's go back to normal view. Time warp dropping down. We're going to get 2 minutes warning, so we'll have some time to rotate our craft. So let's close that alarm. Let's rotate the craft. Around we go. Let's not go too fast or we won't be able to stop it. Here we go. There's the blue reticule. RCS trying to hold us in place, which is good. I've left that on for exactly that purpose. We still have quite a bit of monopropellant for manoeuvring, so that's all good. So there we are. There we go. So, about 30 odd seconds to go. Just drifting off very slightly. So we'll go on the 34. Just bring it down. It's almost there. 40 seconds. Here we go, and let's hit the gas and burn away. So there's the vibration. As we're not perfectly lined up with the centre of mass. So I suspect, like with the capture, we are going to have to make quite a few little adjustments in order to keep ourselves on rendezvous with Minmus. So we're not bad, we're about halfway through our burn. Just keeps wanting to drift off. There we go, let's keep it on, about 2/3 of the way through our burn. Meters per second to go. 40. Let's bring the throttle down. Just keep fighting that that maneuver node. Almost there. There we go. We're close enough, I think. Move that maneuver node. Still got about half our fuel in our tanks. Let's go back to the map. And there's our capture. Not brilliant, but pretty good nevertheless. So we now have plenty of time to make some adjustments. So why don't we make an adjustment right about here? Now we need to bring ourselves, where's the node? 6. Bring ourselves down, is that right? 3. 3. There it goes. So we're now at 0, so we're exactly in the plane. About 1.8 is that? 1.8. Let's slow ourselves down. We're going further away, I think. 1.6? No, we're not doing too bad. 1.7. Let's bring ourselves over. 1.8. Maybe we need to make this adjustment a little further out. Although we're only using a fraction of our fuel. So if that's us, at was at 1,000,000 meters. 700,000. 500. 200. 34. 34 kilometers, that's pretty good. 59, slightly moved out now. 17. Fantastic. Who needs precise node? Who needs precise node? Let's center on Kerbin so we have this nicely centered for us. So we have another very nice capture. Now, to be honest, I am not really fussed which way round we're going to be going around Minmus. If we can get captured at all, that's a win. So, as we said before, let's rinse and repeat. Let's get another alarm. Let's add an alarm. Let's not close it off. Let's add an alarm. 1 minute warning for a 10-second burn. That'll be plenty. So let's go back to our ship. Nicely in the sunlight. And let's go around another 40 days. Now, according to TAC Life Support, we have 900 days of food, and as long as our batteries are in the light or our panels are in the light, we've got another day's worth of electricity. So I think they are good to go. So let's increase time warp for another 40 days. $10,000. Time is rushing by. And we'll see you when we arrive at our manoeuvre. See you in a moment. Right, we are approaching our manoeuvre. 54 minutes to go. We can see Kerbin and the Mun there. I think we really need to save this beautiful shot for Gene, so he has a memento to go on his wall. 36 minutes left to go to our manoeuvre. Again, we have plenty of food, water, oxygen and electricity, so there's no problems there at all. And the guys are looking pretty great. Yeah. Bit of a fixed grin on all their faces. I think this mission is really wearing them down. But only 7 minutes to go to our next capture burn. Now it's a 10-second burn. So we should have enough fuel left in our tanks without refueling. So let's close this alarm. Let's maneuver our asteroid around. Follow the blue arrow in order to get ourselves lined up with our maneuver node. Just need to go down a little. So we need to go on the 5. And let's just get ourselves lined up. There we go. All ready. There's Kerbin in the background. 6 and 5. Let's hit that burn. Try and keep as best on the maneuver node as we can halfway through the burn. And just finish that burn. There we go. Right. So we should now be on for a capture. So we hope. So we hope. So let's check our trajectory. There we go. You can see us this rather fancy kink in our orbit. Let's now cycle. Let's now see our trajectory with regard to Minmus. So that's our escape. This is our approach. See some of our debris left over from our earlier orbits. So all we have to do now is wait for our arrival. And guess what? We have an alarm for that. We have sphere of influence change. We'll take a minute's warning for that. Thank you very much. We'll add the alarm. And we'll accelerate time. And watch as these two come together. Time warp's reducing. Time warp's down to 10. And here's our alarm. So we're almost here. We are almost ready to be captured. And look at that, 37. I couldn't have planned it better if I tried. Although I did try, and I did try to plan it. But we're not yet in the sphere of influence. 46 seconds to go. So let's just accelerate time a little bit. 30 seconds. And just see it switch sphere of influence. And recalculate. So hopefully this is now accurate. Well, there we go. Right, well, the time has come to find out whether we have gambled and won or gambled and lost. So I'm going to add a maneuver node and I'm just going to capture us. That's all we have to do. 20 meters per second, that's all we need. Now, I'm not sure. Of course we have enough fuel for 20 meters a second. Heavens sakes! Heavens to Murgatroyd! Of course we do! 20 meters per second, heavens sakes. Now we've got ourselves into the light, so we should have no problems charging our batteries. And there's Minmus. There is our first sight of Minmus. Now we have our maneuver node, so let's add a new alarm. We'll again take a 1 minute pause. And we'll accelerate time as we approach Minmus. Now it's a 5-second burn, so that's a negligible burn just as we approach. So we watch the time coming down, Minmus rushing towards us. Time to get ready. Going round the back of Minmus. This might not be good news. So I think we need to start manoeuvring very, very soon. Because manoeuvring, particularly using the wheels, uses electric charge. So we need to do as much of this manoeuvre as we can in the light. And this is the only thing I am really that worried about. Come on. Just coming round. Because the one thing I didn't fit was RTGs. The kitchen sink, but not RTGs. So as we go out of the light, we're in trouble. But that's not trouble we haven't been in before. So I think we'll be fine. We'll be fine, won't we, Jeb? We'll be fine. So here we go. We are almost on. 5. We'll go now. Burn off wandering a little bit. So let's bring ourselves back. And just slow ourselves down. And according to our calculations, we are now in orbit. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If I don't say so myself. Well, I do say so. So that must be right. We are now in orbit. We have captured an asteroid and brought it into orbit of Minmus. And there's our big green tick. We have put our station in orbit around Minmus. All we have to do now is build something on it. For 9 Kerbals and include a research lab. Sheesh! They want blood, for heaven's sakes. But that's for another time. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.